Hi, I'm Wade Millward, and today I'm catching up with CRN Senior Editor Dylan Martin on CRN In-Depth, where we cover a big story happening now with the reporter who covered the news. Dylan, today we're talking about major cuts at Intel. What do partners need to know?
Yeah, so on August 1st, Intel had its most recent earnings, and basically the company announced that they have to cut over 15,000 jobs, which is 15% of their total workforce. But actually, I learned from sources that one way Intel plans to slash its headcount and reduce its expenses is it's planning to reduce the cost for its sales and marketing group by more than 35%. They're looking at for one, simplifying their programs end to end. That was quoted from a presentation slide that I viewed that was shared internally during an all-hands meeting with sales and marketing employees. As part of their move to simplify programs, they're also adjusting what's called contra revenue investments, which basically means things like market development funds or co-marketing funds that are given to OEMs and partners. And basically between the simplifying of the programs and the adjusting roles and responsibilities for contra revenue spending, they expect to save $100 million in the second half of this year and over $300 million in the first half of next year. So one important thing to put out there is that I heard this from sources, but Intel also provided me a statement saying that the company remains deeply committed to the channel and will continue to prioritize the success of the entire Intel ecosystem. They did acknowledge that they're becoming a simpler, leaner, and more agile company. That's in quotes. That's, quote, easier for partners and customers to work with while ensuring that they can focus their investments in areas where they see the greatest opportunities for innovation and growth. But obviously with these cost savings that are expected, there's definitely a question of what is that going to look like? How is that going to impact partners? Even OEMs who may receive less funds, those funds that OEMs receive sometimes flow down to partners. If the OEM is like holding an event or training that is like connected to Intel.
Yeah, this is reminding me of my conversation with another CRN reporter about Dell, making some cuts as well. And it's always, no one likes to see people lose jobs. However, less in-house resources usually does flow to the channel, and it can be a net positive for channel partners like you're speaking to.
Yeah. I would actually add this presentation slide I saw. It did say enhanced indirect coverage muscle was one phrase, which that's a reference in the channel. And I believe there was another reference about protecting the core business, and that includes decentralized coverage. And decentralized coverage usually means your channel partners who are selling on your behalf. I think that's what I think I'll be really interested to see is are there any ways that this will be a net positive for the channel partners? We absolutely can't say right now because we're just waiting to see what decisions are made and how those impact or don't impact partners.
Yep. And Dylan, you're speaking to obviously the need for chips in this AI moment. We've got AI PCs. Talk to me about what's your sense of how much of this is Intel specific? Is there anything partners should know about the greater market and market trends? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Intel, I think this is, at least somewhat tied to just the company's own circumstances. They've had several difficult years. One of the things that hurt them a little while ago was, they fell behind in their advanced chip making capabilities. So they fell behind TSMC and Samsung, in the past several years. And what that did was that it allowed companies like AMD and NVIDIA to go to TSMC or Samsung and say, hey, you actually have more cutting edge technology than Intel does right now. I think we can make very competitive chips. And that's kind of what happened. AMD gained a lot of market share against Intel in the CPU market. And then, of course, NVIDIA has very much benefited from the huge, demand in AI. Intel faces a lot of challenges right now, and a lot of what they're banking on is, this comeback plan that Pat Gelsinger put together, where they're hoping to, they have, kind of accelerated the extent to which they have introduced new advanced chip making technologies, and by next year they're planning to have an advanced chip manufacturing node that is higher performance than what TSMC or Samsung can do. And so, there's a lot of hope that will, for one, help Intel's products, getting better. But also Intel is hoping to build a contract chip manufacturing business. So Intel would like to take some of the customers that have been going to TSMC and Samsung for manufacturing chips. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like don't bet against Intel, but we have been waiting a long time for an inflection point. So the stuff you're speaking to, maybe that time is coming. Well, that'll do it for this episode of In Depth. Dylan, thank you so much for speaking with me. And for more of Dylan's leading coverage on the semiconductor space, please be sure to read CRN.com.